This is one of the most simple and effective techniques I've found for controlling ejaculation and overcoming premature ejaculation. Hey guys, I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. If you're interested in learning more about sexual mastery, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified when I release new videos. Make sure you grab my free ejaculation control guide in the video description below. So I want to show you guys a very simple and effective technique for developing ejaculation control. This is a method that works with breath and certain body engagements to override the ejaculation response. It's important to know that ejaculation is a function of your sympathetic nervous system. It's linked to that. So when you're having sex and you get too stimulated, you get too aroused, the sympathetic nervous system kicks on and ejaculation commences. Things that will put you in that sympathetic state are squeezing your pelvic floor muscles. Most people teach this, but it's a bad idea. If you squeeze your pelvic floor muscles, you'll find that you are much more sensitive to sexual stimulation and it's easier to ejaculate. Also, if you're stressed out, you have hypertension, a lot of tension in your body, your mind's really active, it's going to be really hard for you to get out of that fight or flight mode. This practice helps you kind of manipulate the body and stimulate your nervous system to stay in the parasympathetic state and avoid ejaculation. I mean, there's nothing worse. You go to have sex with a girl, you're like, yeah, we're getting it on, and you insert, and 2 seconds in, that's it, right? It sucks, and I've been there. I know a lot of you guys have been there. Premature ejaculation is very common. The average man lasts about 5.5 minutes during sex, but there's something we can do about it. We can train in techniques and sexual kung fu to develop sexual mastery. Like anything, ejaculation control is a skill that needs to be developed, and you do that by daily training. This is what sexual kung fu is all about. So this is sexual kung fu breathing. This is a sort of a two-part technique, right? I will show you the first part, the inhale. What you're going to do is take a deep breath. Do this sitting down first. You can get a bit lightheaded doing this. Take a deep breath, fill up your lungs completely. And then you're going to hold the breath. You're going to hold the breath and kind of push out your belly and push down from your diaphragm. Your diaphragm's right at the base of your, the end of your ribs here, right? So you hold the breath, you push down with the diaphragm. And you'll feel this pressure kind of pushing down into your sexual center, into the bladder. Also feel a little bit in the back as well. It's this pushing down. You hold the breath while you're doing that. So again, hold the breath. Pushing. You'll really get a pot belly doing this. It's not the most flattering looking technique, but it's effective, right? I'll get into more how you actually implement this, right? So again, let's review that. Take a deep breath, deep as you can. Push the belly down. So you feel like it's kind of pushing down, the diaphragm's pushing down, it's gently pushing down to the bladder and to the pelvic floor. And this actually helps to keep your pelvic floor relaxed and it avoids that ejaculation response kicking on. So that's the first part. The key again is really fill up your lungs and hold your breath while pushing down as long as you can. You're probably going to be sore after doing this if you've never worked your diaphragm like this. So maybe take a day off in between practices until you kind of build that core strength, right? But the breath hold and the pushing down is what it's all about. Make sure you keep your pelvic floor relaxed during this, okay? The second part is going to be a little more involved. So as you exhale, we'll just focus on the exhale right now, then we'll combine parts 1 and 2 together. So take a deep breath. And as you exhale, pull in your abs. It's like you're squeezing them into your lower back. And at the same time, almost like feeling like if you're urinating and you're pushing it out harder, it's like a reverse Kegel engagement. Do that as you're exhaling. So you inhale, exhale and push, pull in your abs, push the pelvic floor. All right, then we're gonna add one more element to this. You're going to squeeze your butt cheeks together. Squeeze your glutes. Not like crazy flex, but it's more like you're trying to squeeze your butt cheeks together. There's almost a bit of like thigh engagement in it as well. You're just gonna have to play with it until you really feel it. It's easier to do this when you're in kind of a wider stance. You can't see my legs, but my knees, my thighs are kind of out here. So you'll notice as you flex, kind of gently flex your butt cheeks together, it kind of lifts you up slightly, right? See, I don't know if you can see, I'm kind of bouncing on my chair. So we're doing rhythmic butt contractions on the exhale. So again, with all the other engagements, the abs are pulling in, you're pushing down the pelvic floor and you're rhythmically squeezing your butt cheeks together. Let's take a deep breath. Exhale, squeeze the butt together, hold in the abs. rhythmically squeezing. So this is my butt cheeks, right? Squeeze and release. Reverse Kegel, pulling in the abs, rhythmically squeezing the butt cheeks. It's a bit involved. There's a lot going on here, a lot of moving parts. Just practice it. It'll become easy. Take a deep breath. Exhale, pulling in the abs, squeezing the butt cheeks, pushing the pelvic floor, making sure you don't tighten the pelvic floor as you're squeezing your butt cheeks. All right, then relax. Now we're going to combine these two things together. So on the inhale, you take a deep breath, fill up your belly, push the belly down, hold the breath as long as you comfortably can. Don't pass out, obviously. And then as you exhale, you squeeze the butt cheeks, pull in the abs. And if you can, also do a light reverse Kegel engagement, pushing down on the pelvic floor like you're pushing out a pee, pushing out a poop, whatever. So we inhale, push the belly down. Exhale, squeezing, pulling the abs. And it's like you're squeezing your abs into your lower back. What this does is first of all, it keeps that sympathetic nervous system from kicking on. It keeps that ejaculation response from kicking on. It also directs some of that arousal out of your genitals. All these engagements, these physical engagements, when you're flexing something like we're flexing the butt, it requires blood, it requires energy. All that energy and blood that's built up in your genitals is actually going to move out of there. So it kind of relieves some of that pressure, which would otherwise cause you to ejaculate. So we'll review that one more time. Deep breath in. Hold the breath as long as you can, pushing down the diaphragm into the bladder, into the pelvic floor gently. And exhale, squeeze the butt rhythmically, pulling in the abs, gentle reverse Kegel. All right, that's it. So how you implement this into sexual context. First of all, like most sexual kung fu practices, I recommend you do this on your own first. It's difficult to learn ejaculation control when you're with a partner because you have all this added excitement, the stimulation, there's this, pressure to perform, and you're like, oh, we're having sex, and oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this breathing thing, but oh, look at those, it's just too much, right? So it's much easier to change your sexual habits and rewire yourself sexually when you're alone. There's no pressure. It's just you and, your hand or whatever. So first of all, practice this breathing as I showed you, make sure you really get it down, and then you're going to add it to self-stimulating yourself, masturbating, whatever. Do the breathing first, do a few rounds of this breathing, kind of get the feeling for it, then maybe start stimulating yourself, build some arousal. I do not recommend using porn. It's overstimulating, messes up your brain chemistry. If you need to use a bit of fantasy, to engage your arousal, that's fine. But once you get aroused, I recommend letting go of it and focusing on your body, okay? Just make sure you keep all the mechanics of this practice going. And you're stimulating yourself. You're consistently doing this breathing that I showed you, right? So you inhale, hold the breath, push down. As you're stimulating, you exhale, squeezing the butt. As you're stimulating, you just keep it going and just notice how this helps you prevent ejaculating. So practice this. I recommend practicing for a minimum of 10 to 15 minutes in a sexual stimulation context because you need to build your endurance, right? And that will help to do that. If you start getting too aroused, if you're like right on the edge of ejaculating, stop the stimulation and just keep doing this breathing technique. And make sure that you are not squeezing your pelvic floor. Keep your mind calm and engaged within your body. And that's a technique. Then you can start to implement this with a partner, right? It's a bit more difficult. It can be a bit tricky to do this one during sex. It takes some practice, on your own, practice it in different positions, do it lying down, do it standing up, whatever, right? It's easiest to do this if you're kind of in a standing position, if you're in kind of a wide horse stance, your partner's on the bed, you're standing up. That's a great position for this practice. But, you can also make it work when you're lying down or you're, sitting on your knees or on your back, whatever. It just takes some practice. But again, just keep doing this breathing. The breath holding I found to be one of the most important parts. The longer you can hold your breath with this practice, the more you will be able to master your ejaculation. So that's a technique. Practice it. It's going to take you a little bit to get it, but have fun with it. I teach many, many more techniques for ejaculation control and for having non-ejaculatory orgasms, full body orgasms, and lasting for hours in bed in my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, which opens every 3 months. You can find more information in the description of this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments below, did this technique help you? I would love to hear. Have a great day, my friends. You see my wire? Can you see my rippling, bulging wire? Pectorals, my shoulder girth. All right, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're not coming, that's what we're doing. I'm dead sexy. Oh, that was ridiculous.